So, what trends and developments do you see happening globally around AI ethics and also maybe particularly in Africa?
So let's talk about Africa a little bit. I had a look this morning. I keep sort of watching what's happening, and two things stood out for me. So this morning in the Guardian newspaper, there was an article about an opinion piece, really, about how Africa will be transformed by the potential of AI and data. The one limitation is, of course, with all of the things, money, funding, investment. But if you think about it, Africa in particular has got a rapidly growing population of, I think it's 1.4, 1.5 billion people. That's around 18, 19% of the world population. Add to that I think it's about 70% or so are under the age of 30, and they have an appetite, they have a zest, they have a desire for new technology. They are connected. They got the mobile phones. They want to be part of this huge revolution. Africa and Middle East are really going to see the fastest growth in AI spending worldwide. I think this year there's talk they're reaching about $3 billion, which relatively that's quite a small amount. But by 2026, this is expected to go to 6.4 billion. Personally, I think there's greater potential, and we're probably looking at anything above potentially 10 billion, maybe even more than that. Africa, I guess, in a way, missed the first, second, and the third industrial revolutions to some extent. But now, with the population, with the youngsters there, and their passion for technology, I think there's a really great opportunity to lead part of the global fourth and fifth industrial revolutions, if you like. So the AI and what comes beyond. Now, data is very, very important because data is the lifeblood for making decisions. And decisions is, of course, what AI can do best. Now, whilst it can do that best, that will require, putting solid ethical foundations in place, because the risks are huge, as well as the opportunities. And it's up to us, to humans, to use AI and develop it. Personally, for me, so first of all, I'm not really an AI expert. I'm more a risk expert with a focus on human activities and human behaviors. AI is a very, very powerful tool, and it can do really good things in the right hands, but it can also be extremely dangerous in the wrong hands. We have already seen in Africa in particular huge strides in the healthcare sectors, agriculture, and education. And as I said a little while ago, I think local data will become increasingly important globally, particularly if we want to tackle issues such as climate change. And one example is there's a global partnership for sustainable development data, and Africa, I think, is a huge contributor to that. And there's a big challenge for the world leaders and organizations. And I think you guys, for instance, you're doing a lot in this space already, a lot of good, which is fantastic, but more needs to be done. Africa will need, of course, funding, and the world leaders need to help to make big and bold strategic decisions. Now, in terms of unlocking what some have been referring to Silicon Savannah, so assessing Africa's AI readiness, there's a bit of a divide going on, I think. So if you look at North Africa, they're one of the leaders in AI adoption. Countries such as, I think it's Egypt, Morocco, and Tunisia, they're all having adopted national AI strategies for research and development. Then you got the East Africa region, which is also showing a lot of promise in AI adoption. You got Kenya and Rwanda taking the lead here. I think Rwanda recently established a National Artificial Intelligence Center. Kenya also, they invested 130 million in AI, I think, over the last 10 years, which, in global terms is probably not that much, but in Africa terms, that is a huge amount of money, and I suppose that needs to be recognized. Kenya also, I think, is ranked globally at the 19th place or so in terms of AI readiness, depending on who's assessing it, who's looking at it. Then you got West Africa, which has got some emerging players in AI adoption, in particular in Nigeria and Ghana. They are leading the way. I think the Nigerian government recently launched a national center, not just for AI, but also for robotics. So they're pretty strong going. Central Africa then is lagging a little bit behind with the adoption. There's limited investment at the moment in R&D. Having said that, there are countries such as Cameroon and Congo that are making efforts to promote AI adoption, with both of their governments also establishing AI centers. Now, Southern Africa clearly is one of the leaders in this area in AI adoption. That is followed also closely by Botswana and Namibia. South Africa has launched a national AI strategy that aims to promote AI innovation. You guys, again, Flame Station is doing a great job here, and also adoption across different sectors. And of course, there's some emerging players. I think you guys are working closely with some of the leading players, academic players, and leading research collaborations out there with some of the well-established academic institutions. And then Botswana and Namibia, I think they also made huge strides. They set national AI development goals. And from my perspective, I think with everything that's going on at the moment, particularly in the news around generative AI, ChatGPT, the big players, Microsoft, OpenAI, literally open up their wallets and just flooding everything with funding. I think over the next few years, we will see huge developments in this space. And I mean, until recently, you couldn't access easily ChatGPT on your phone, but now I think there's a Bing app, Microsoft app for free, so you can get ChatGPT on your mobile phone. So if you've got a good mobile phone network, which most African nations have, and a huge density of people using mobile phones, all of a sudden you have got a lot of young guys out there doing stuff, amazing work with ChatGPT, and you can become very quickly I don't want to say a developer of software, but certainly you could become very quickly a fast coder or a problem solver. So if you're good at developing these prompts, you got your tool in your pocket, you can do stuff with it. And I'm still discovering what is actually, what is the art of possible. So I think amazing opportunities, but as you said at the beginning, there's massive challenges from an ethics perspective, because just because we can do something doesn't mean we should be doing it. And we should also be mindful of every time I run a query on ChatGPT on my phone, how much energy is actually being used up, how much resources are being used up to doing that.
Water,
is it really necessary having to do that? So we need to be mindful of that, and that requires education. And again, hopefully you guys will be doing a lot in this space to educate companies and people working responsibly by using AI.
Yeah, there's a big sort of education component.